Students, today we're going to learn about classifying quadrilaterals, and it's important to learn what quadrilaterals mean. Quad means four, and lateral means sides. So a quadrilateral means a four-sided figure. And if you take a look at our chart over here, all these different types of quadrilaterals we're going to learn about all, of course, have four sides. That's the first rule of being classified as a quadrilateral. When we say classify, we just means we're going to sort it into a group based on the type. Think about library books. See all these library book genres over here? Poetry books, sci-fi books, mystery books, fantasy books. They're all types of books, but we put them in different parts of the library. They are classified differently. And last thing before we start actually classifying some quadrilaterals is to know that quadrilaterals can belong to more than one group at a time. And think about yourself, right? You are actually classified. See that word class in there? You're classified as a student, but you're also classified by being a member of this particular class, in this particular grade, in this particular school, in this particular school district, right? Those are all ways we can classify you. You're in all those groups all at the same time. So let's start with our chart over here. You're going to see on the right side of your screen, we're going to start out with a basic quadrilateral. And the only rules for a basic quadrilateral is they have to have four straight closed sides. So if you take a look over here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sides to this particular shape, right? This gray shape up here. So that's a quadrilateral. Same thing here, our yellow one. Well, it's got 1, it's got 2, it's got 3, it's got 4 sides to it. So that's a quadrilateral. But of course, a star wouldn't be. If you actually count up all the sides to that star, it's actually got 10 sides to it. So nope, not that one. Okay, that one is out. The circle, well, no, the circle's out also. The circle's really only got one side, and it's certainly not straight. So I want you to count over here. We found 2 already. How many of these shapes count as quadrilaterals? How many do you see? Count them all. Well, if you said that there were 1, 2, 3, not the triangle, 4, not the hexagon, 5, 6, 7, you'd be correct. We're not going to count this one right here because if you notice, it's rounded around the corners. So there are actually 7 quadrilaterals that we see. Now, there's another type of quadrilateral. It's a little more specific, right? A trapezoid, it has 4 straight closed sides, but the one rule about a trapezoid, it has to have at least one pair of parallel sides. So let's figure out what parallel means. Parallel means lines that even if they went on forever, they would never cross. Like you take a look at shape B over here, figure B. This top side of our quadrilateral here and the bottom side are parallel. That means even if they went on forever in either direction, they're never going to touch, they're never going to cross, right? So those are parallel sides. That's one pair, like a pair of socks is 2 of something make a pair, okay? Same thing, let's see over here, shape C, right? The top of C and the bottom of C, those are also parallel. And we show that they're parallel in one common way. We mark them. We mark them with little arrows. It looks like this, okay? To show that the top and bottom of B are parallel, we would go like this, okay? Showing that even if those lines went on forever, they would never intersect. Just like shape F down here, right? The left side and the right side are parallel. Those lines would never cross. So which shape do you see over there that is not a trapezoid? It doesn't have one pair of parallel sides. Can you find it? Well, if you said figure E or shape E, you'd be correct. Because if you notice, the bottom here and the top, eventually they would cross, right? Same thing with the left side and the right side. If they went on, eventually they would cross. So E is the one that is not a trapezoid. All right, now there's another special type of trapezoid called a parallelogram. A parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel sides. Now notice, it's still a trapezoid because it still has one pair, right? If it has 2, then it definitely also has 1. And it's still a quadrilateral because it has 4 closed straight sides to it. So a parallelogram actually has 2 pairs of parallel sides. Let's look at A. The top side and the bottom side of A, those are parallel. They're never going to cross, never going to intersect. But also the left side over here and the right side, those are also parallel, right? Even if they went all the way down, they would never cross. Or they went all the way up, those are never going to cross either. So that has 2 pairs of parallel sides. Same thing here with C, right? The top and bottom sides of C are parallel, and the left side and the right side of C are also parallel. So can you find a figure that is not a parallelogram? It does not have two pairs of parallel sides. Well, if you said shape D, D is the one that is not a parallelogram, right? It is a trapezoid because it has one pair. It is a quadrilateral, but it doesn't count as a parallelogram. All the rest of them are parallelograms, also trapezoids, also quadrilaterals. Now, there's two kinds of parallelograms. All right, we're going to focus on one branch called a rhombus. A rhombus has four congruent sides, but we have to know what congruent means. Congruent means that they are identical in size and shape. The size and the shape match, like figure A over here. Okay, we use these little marks, these little slash marks. Since I put the same mark on all four of these sides, maybe they're all 2 inches long, maybe they're all 3 centimeters long. But since all these marks match, that shows us that all those sides are congruent. Same thing down here. Oh, let's see point D. Okay, point D, it's a tall, skinny quadrilateral, and all four sides match. And that makes it a rhombus because there's four congruent sides. Now, it's also a parallelogram because it has two pairs of parallel sides. And it's a trapezoid because if it has two pairs, it definitely has one pair. And it's a quadrilateral. Which shape over here, though, is not a rhombus? Which one doesn't have four congruent sides? Well, if you said figure C, you would be correct. C is the one that is not a rhombus. It is a parallelogram because it has the top and the bottom parallel, and it has the left and the right parallel, right? And it is a trapezoid, and it is a quadrilateral, but it doesn't count as a rhombus because you can see the top and the bottom match, but the left side and the right side don't match the top and bottom, so it doesn't have four congruent sides. The other type of parallelogram is a rectangle, and a rectangle, you probably recognize those right away. Rectangle has four right angles. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that the corners are 90 degrees. And a lot of times you're going to see this little symbol in the corner, right? We draw a little box like this in the corner to show that that's 90 degrees. And this one is 90 degrees, right? In fact, all the corners would be 90 degrees. An easy way for you to check if something is 90 degrees or if something is a right angle is just to take a piece of paper. Hey, look, there's a piece of paper. And you can actually take the corner of a piece of paper and set it right there in the corner of the quadrilateral. And if it fits in there, then that's a 90-degree corner, right? I can do the same thing with shape B. I can put this piece of paper right in the corner and say, hey, look, that fits well. That means that's a 90-degree angle. So which one of these over here is not a rectangle? Which one doesn't have four right angles in it? Can you see it? Yep. C. Figure C is not a rectangle, right? Because you can tell that although the bottom and left and the bottom right corners are 90 degrees, this angle here is a little bit wider, and this angle here is a little bit narrower. So that one is not a rectangle, okay? Now, all the other ones, like figure D here, that's a rectangle, four right angles, and it's a parallelogram because notice that the top and the bottom are parallel, and the right and the left side are also parallel. It's a trapezoid and it's a quadrilateral, right? It's everything before it here in our tree, as well as being a rectangle. And then finally, our last quadrilateral is a square, and a square actually fits every single other item as well. It's a quadrilateral, it's a trapezoid, it's a parallelogram, it's a rhombus, and it's a rectangle. So what makes a square? Well, a square has four congruent sides. That means the four sides match. And four right angles. And let's not make this too complicated, guys. You've been recognizing squares since you were probably in preschool, right? So let's see, four congruent sides. Well, we mark those sides with a little tick mark, a little slash mark, like to say they are all equal, like so. All right, those are all getting the same mark to show they're all equal. Maybe they're all 1 inch apiece. Maybe they're all 2 centimeters apiece, but they all match. And you're going to see they all have right angles in them, right? You can take that piece of paper again, and you could put it up in the corner and see that it fits there perfectly because that 90-degree angle is a right angle, okay? So which one of these shapes, A, B, C, D, E, or F, is not a square? Well, you probably recognized it right away. The one that's not a square is letter D, right? Letter D is not a square because it doesn't have four congruent sides. It would be a rectangle, but it wouldn't be a square, Okay, so that's a little bit about classifying quadrilaterals. Remember, if you find an item, find its most specific name, it's that shape and it's everything above it in our chart. So I hope that helps you classify quadrilateral types.